all right. Welcome. My name is Jason Underberg, and this is the Inside View. We've got a very exciting show for you today with two very special guests. Joining us is James Beard nominee, head chef, restaurant owner at Viaggio's restaurant in Wayne, New Jersey, and Osteria Crescenza in Westwood, New Jersey. An extremely talented guy, my friend, Mr. Robbie Felice. Also joining us today is former Polo Ralph Lauren Ambassador and model, was also the cover of View magazine in 2015. Mr. Chris Collins is joining us today. So without any further ado, let's jump right in and bring on Robbie Felice. What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no worries.
Looking good over there. Where are you jumping on this call from? Looks like you're in a restaurant somewhere.
Yeah, I'm actually in Viaggio right now.
You are?
Yes, I am.
Very nice. So I got so many things I want to ask you. I just want to kind of jump right in. I know everybody's really excited. So, I guess, my first question is really like, what is a quarantine like being in your house? Because I'm not going to lie, prior to this call, I was thinking if there's one guy I'd want to live with right now, it'd probably be you. I can only imagine the amount of food that goes in and out of your kitchen on a daily basis. So tell everybody kind of.
Yeah,
Like?
Honestly, I don't think there's been a day once during this whole quarantine that I've actually stayed home.
Okay.
I've been at the restaurants every single day. From the day we actually closed up shop all the way up until now where we're doing, takeout and delivery. I've been like, go, go, go. I guess I'm kind of one of those type of people that like can't sit still. Obviously you have to, everyone's got to stay safe and, we're not supposed to be out and about, but with what they did with the restaurants these days and how obviously they closed us down, the day we closed down, we turned Viaggio into a market. And then, we were running a full-blown market out of Viaggio for like 2-3 weeks. And now we're doing takeout and delivery. I mean, the days I do supposedly have off, I'm kind of cooking for kind of the frontline workers, the people at the hospitals. So today I've been here all day kind of getting that ready. Tomorrow, me and a friend of mine, AJ Capella, he's the chef over at Jockey Hollow in Morristown.
Sure.
Me and him are going to be cooking, kind of delivering some of the food to some of the different hospitals, local hospitals.
Very nice. So you really have been busy. So there really is no good food going in and out of the kitchen at home. So I probably wouldn't want to be a guest at your house right now.
Yeah, you would be there alone. There would be no one with you.
So what does the family do? I mean, they got to be a little upset that you're not cooking for everybody on a daily basis.
I mean, my dad's my business partner, so he's here with me.
Okay.
So me and him have kind of just been doing it together. He's the same way. He can't sit still, When he was hearing on the news, oh, you're going to have to stay home, you're quarantined. He was just, no way, there's no possible way I'm staying home. So, I would say there's no quarantining for me and most of the family. It's more, kind of still going on with the daily working every day, being here at the restaurants.
Yeah, it's nice to hear what you're doing with giving back. And that's something to say. I mean, that's really nice about, you guys are really going above and beyond rather than staying home and kind of doing your thing. And you're really giving back to the community, opening the doors and cooking for people. And I know there's been a lot of efforts on your behalf. So that's really admirable.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like I got interviewed by someone else and, they kind of really tried it out of me. But I was just like, doing that market wasn't just – obviously, it was awesome being able to sell all of our produce and everything, all the specialty products we have. But part of it was just to stay positive. Like it seemed like at one point the world was so like, oh, my God, this is it. This is terrible. Like, what are we going to do? And it was just a very positive thing to like turn a fine dining restaurant into a market and have people like happily come into the restaurant and be like, oh my God, this is incredible. And like buying products, being able to talk to me and like ask me how I would cook it and then go home and cook it. And then they would come back the next day and be like, oh my God, that was awesome. What else can we buy? And that went on for like, a week or two. And it was just such a positive thing to like have that going. I mean, it made me happy. I was able to employ some of my staff. And then just having like customers and, you know, people in the area come in, I feel like it was like a super positive thing for them as well.
That's great, man. So everybody's excited for your recipe. So what are we going to explain today on the show on how people can make something at home? What are we going to introduce today?
We are talking meatballs today.
Meatballs. Everybody loves meatballs.
Everyone loves meatball. Exactly. Yes. I'm cooking some right now. I got to go grab them. Right back.
Sounds good. Let's see what he's got. Should be interesting. I got a feeling he's going to come out with like a giant plate of meatballs right now.
Yo, so check this out. I literally just pulled these guys out of the oven. I'm going to be able to snack on these while talking to you.
Oh, this is great. This is great. So now I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch you eat instead of being able to join you. I have to
Bro,
reach through the screen.
Hands down, the best meatball I've ever made.
Oh my God. Look at that meatball. Wow. All right. Time out. Before, don't finish your plate yet. But before, what I got to do is I got a friend, right? This guy, Patsy, old school Italian guy. This guy, he knows his meatballs. Okay. I want to see if I can grab Patsy, bring him on the line. Before you explain to everybody how you make these gems, I want to just bring him on the line and see what his thoughts are. Would you mind?
Let's do it.
All right, let's
do it.
All right, let me see if I can grab Patsy here on the line with us. There he is.
Oh, I hear him. There he is. Patsy,
I'm sorry to bother you. I'm sorry to bother you at work, Patsy, but we really needed you on the show today because I'm here with Chef Robbie Felice, James Beard winning chef. This guy, he knows his food, but he's experimenting right now, the best meatballs. He claims he's got the best meatballs, and you know what? I think he might, but I wanted to bring you on the line before he explains everything here, just to verify.
Is he Italian?
what do you think? If I'm making meatballs, of course I'm Italian.
I can't see. Hold on a second. I'm using my reading glasses. All right, I got you. How you doing?
So
What's up?
So Patsy, let's listen to Robbie's methodology here on his meatball making, and you know, I just want to make sure that it's Patsy approved.
I just made some the other day. Let me hear your recipe.
I gotta hear your tricks. If you say one or two of the right tricks, I know you got a good meatball.
Well, I use the veal. I use 15% fat-free on the ground beef, pork. I use a lot of parsley. I like to slice my garlic real thin to get the more taste out of it. A lot of it. Once in a while, I'll add a little some of that beef broth. It depends on, you know. I made a bit. I actually made them the other day. I made some of them. Nobody complained. I made them real big, nice, you know, and a couple of eggs, a lot of grated cheese, or fresh parsley. You got to use fresh parsley to get the taste out better.
And that's what you got?
I take some. I cut the Wonder Bread. I cut the
There
eggs.
you go.
And I put it in the jar, and I'll add some milk and a little bit of water.
There you go. Yep, he's got it. Jason,
And
he's got the trick.
I break
Wait a
them up
second.
in pieces. I soak it in good, right?
That's
There
it.
it is.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. He's got it.
That
He
holds
nailed
the
it.
flavor in.
This guy
the
knows
bread
his
with-
meatballs.
That'll hold anytime if you're with the oil. If I put the olive oil, and if I'm frying them, the flavor will come out. So you want to keep that bread will keep it in there with the water and milk.
There he is. He's the real deal.
Keeps all the
This
components
guy,
tight from the release, and that'll keep your flavor.
All right, hang on.
The meatballs.
Time out. So, Robbie, are you saying that Patsy can make as good as a meatball as you?
I wouldn't go that far, but he nailed what if he said one or two things, I knew he could make a good meatball. I think what most people don't really kind of know about the meatball world is that bread is soaking bread in milk or heavy cream. If you're gonna add that to your meatball and you add the right amount of that, I think the most important thing in a meatball is if it's moist. You know, anyone can make it taste good. You put effing garlic.
Yeah, it's
you put
gotta
effing
be soft. I don't like breadcrumbs. You know.
You put garlic, you put parsley in your meatball. Yeah, it's gonna taste good. But the most important thing is keeping that meatball moist, right? No one wants a dry meatball.
My mother always did, soaked it in a big jar. She'd break it up and pour some milk and a little bit of water in there. You know, and it depends if you're frying them or baking them. Some people put the beef broth, inside when they're baking them to keep them some more, adds a little more flavor to it too. But you know what you could do is you get some, go to a nice butcher and get some of the sausage, take the skin off of the sausage and use the sausage meat and mix that in there too with a little bit of red pepper.
Yeah.
Add a little zing to it,
This guy knows what he's talking about over here.
But you gotta have
I'm
good
impressed.
Italian
I got to
bread.
be honest with you. I'm speechless over here.
You gotta have good Italian bread. If you don't have good Italian bread, it sort of takes a little bit away. But there's nothing like good Italian bread with it.
Yeah, there you go. He nailed it.
All right, so I guess there's really no conflict here. This was great, Patsy. Thank you. I'm
Well,
glad.
what's your recipe? You do the same thing or no?
Yeah, same thing. I had to make sure you're putting that soaked bread in it. That's literally the most important. I put a little ricotta cheese. That ricotta cheese keeps it nice and moist.
We grew up in the basement, Italian, the old school Italians. My grandmother used to hang the hot peppers in the basement on the line.
Oh, yeah.
You walk in her basement, your eyes would start to tear.
Yeah.
And I missed that. She everything she cooked was with hot peppers.
Yeah.
No matter what she was making, your mouth was on fire. And you just got used to that, deep fry it and hot pepper, pork chops, hot peppers,
Fantastic.
spaghetti, hot peppers.
You guys are making me really hungry over here, Patsy. I'm gonna let you get back to work.
Go ahead, I'm gonna work.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. Good
Stay
talking
safe.
to you, Patsy.
Wear your mask,
All right.
and I'm coming over for meatballs next week.
Jay, come over. I'll make them. I love the meatballs.
I'll
Good
see you
meatballs
soon,
tonight.
my friend.
All right, guy. Take care, man.
Later, Patsy.
It sounds to me like the guy knows his shit.
I wanted to put him to the test, Jason. I didn't know if you were bringing on a real Italian guy or you were bringing on some fake. So
Yeah,
as soon as he mentioned that soaking that bread and, adding the milk or the cream to the meatball, I was like, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like I said, I could sit here all day and give you a written recipe with the exact amounts, but, you could Google meatball recipe. And unless you really understand, like, why is that meatball so much better than the other meatball? I just don't think any recipe is important. And that's kind of how I've always been, to like actually understand what you're cooking rather than just copy a recipe,
That's an interesting point, because otherwise everybody would be a great chef, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just think, something as simple as everyone knows what a goddamn meatball is, but how many people could really go on and read a recipe offline and be like, oh, but they didn't do that trick that Robbie Felice and that crazy Italian guy said on that podcast, So I don't think it's going to be as good of a meatball. But like I said, the main trick that I used, especially for these guys that I have in front of me that are absolutely banging, is that soaking of the bread. Using whether it be like really good Italian bread, or if you want to be like more of a first timer, even just getting a shitty loaf of white bread, you soak that bread in a little bit of heavy cream, enough to make it like it's almost like pasty, and you mix that in with your meatball recipe, and that's going to keep that meatball so moist. I do everything by feel. Like when I make meatballs these days, I don't even know recipe. I like touch it and I can tell if it's going to be a good meatball or not. Besides adding that heavy cream with that bread to it, I also always love adding some fresh ricotta. Okay. That fresh ricotta also keeps it so moist. Like I said, the most important part about a meatball, anyone can make a meatball taste good, but if you have a meatball that's just like so moist and juicy and like
I'm ready to jump out at the screen every time you do. You got to stop doing that, because it's just not fair.
It's delicious,
Yeah, I bet it is.
I think that's the most important part, making it taste good's easy. These days we got garlic powder, onion powder, you got fresh garlic, you got parsley, just like Patsy was saying. I like basil. I also added to these guys a little sofrito. Sofrito is basically just cooked down carrots, onions, celery. You like really cook it down. I added a little of that in there. You sear the outside real hard. Growing up, my grandma used to call them brownies, where when you just sear the outside of the meatball and you serve them just like that. No tomato sauce, no anything. And I was like, when I was a little kid, I was like, Grandma, like, come on, Mima, I call her. Where's the tomato sauce? She's like, no, these are brownies. And I'm like, what do you mean brownies? Come on, give me the tomato sauce. But now I look back and I'm like, my grandma was like a G. Like, if you could make a meatball good enough to just serve it with the outside brown and call it a brownie, like,
You're in
damn, you got a
business.
damn good meatball.
You got a good
yeah,
meatball.
Exactly.
Let's take a quick look at the finished product.
Yeah, let's do it.
Wow. I mean, it's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. So Robbie, what else, man? What else do we need to know before we let you go? We're just about out of time, but what should people know about these meatballs? They can get them.
Like I said, I guess this coming weekend, or is it next weekend? I forget.
Very
the
soon.
dates. Yeah, very soon we're going to be doing a kind of meatball frenzy at VUENJ since we're doing takeout.
Okay.
So I'm going to make, 3 or 4 different kind of meatballs. There's going to be meatballs all the way across the menu. I think we're going to do the classic spaghetti and meatballs, meatballs and polenta. We're going to do some specialty veal meatball. But people can come, get their curbside takeout and delivery, and we're going to really highlight these meatballs out of VUENJ. So these people that kind of check this out can see if I'm a bullshitter or not.
So if you live within 100 miles of Wayne, New Jersey, you should probably stop by and try these meatballs.
Definitely. Absolutely.
100-mile radius is probably a fair assessment. It's worth going out of the way for a good meatball. So
I'm hoping you're going to be first in line.
I will be there. I'll be there.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Robbie Felice, thank you. Follow Robbie Felice at Robbie Felice on Instagram. Check out VUENJ's Osteria. And thanks again, man. Really pleasure having you.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
All right,
awesome.
Guys.
Enjoy.
See you soon.
Bon appetit.
All right, so hopefully I'm able to finish the show because I'm absolutely starving now that I just saw those meatballs, and I'm truly inspired to go try to cook some Italian food. But I guess that can wait. We've got Chris Collins waiting for us on the line, so we're going to go ahead and jump in. Former Polo Ralph Lauren model, Chris Collins, and we'll go ahead and jump on now. My man, Chris Collins. There he is. Haven't seen this guy in 6, 7 years?
Yeah, man. I think it was 2015, right? Wow.
I think it was. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long time, man.
We did the first ever cover shoot for View magazine, man.
We did. First cover out on the boat. Actually, let's take a look at that. We can show everybody here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was quite a beautiful day. I gotta tell you.
I've taken a lot of photos in my day, and that photo shoot was on top. That was one of the most beautiful shoots that I think I've ever done.
I appreciate that, and it was a magnificent cover, and it really set the stage for the future of our magazine. So I thank you for that. So
my pleasure.
So tell me, Chris. So former Polo Ralph Lauren Ambassador, model. When was that? And tell us what that was like.
Well, it was something that was unplanned, but it ended up being an incredible experience because when I was in college, I ended up meeting an agent who wanted to introduce me to Ralph. And I was like, man, the last thing I thought about doing was becoming a model. And then the next thing you know, I'm in Ralph's office, and this didn't feel like it was going to be one of those regular gigs that, you were going to just be doing a quick photo shoot and it'll be done. I mean, this felt like it was going to be something that was going to kind of be very integral in my life. So I said, you know what, man, go for it, man. Just jump out the window and do it. And I worked with Ralph for about 20 years.
Wow.
After I decided to do that first photo shoot. So it's been a hell of a ride.
That was what year?
1996.
96.
Was my first shoot with Ralph. Yeah, I was a baby. Yeah, man.
Wow.
Right out of college, man. But it was an incredible experience, and I learned so much from working with Ralph and kind of transitioned or taught me things about what I would eventually do with my own brand. So it was an incredible experience.
Sure. I could only imagine, what that must be like, especially for such a brand like Polo Ralph Lauren, which is really an iconic brand.
Yeah, legacy and heritage. And
sure.
I mean, both directly and indirectly, I learned so much about, brand building and marketing and message. And experience. So many things. I mean, he's a genius.
Yeah, he truly is. So fast forward, what are you up to now?
Man, I launched my own fragrance business.
Okay.
This goes back to, when I got my first job. I actually worked in a food court in Willowbrook Mall in Wayne, New Jersey. Promise you. And when I got my first check,
Wait,
the
what
first
store
thing
in
I
the
thought
food
about,
court? I have to know.
it was a deli. It was like it was
Okay.
called Baines Deli. Baines
Okay.
Deli. It was the name of it. It's not
Okay.
there anymore.
Trying to make sure it wasn't
When I
like
got
McDonald's or anything like that, you know?
nah, nah. I mean, I did work at McDonald's
I
though.
did
I
too.
mean, even since a very young age, I always wanted to work. I worked at Burger King. I worked at McDonald's. I had a paper route. I had it all, and then I got a
You were hungry.
job at the mall. And as soon as I was always hungry, big boy. So I would, as soon as I got my first check, I went straight to Macy's, and I bought the first thing I ever bought my own money. I bought two things. I bought a CD. I bought Quincy Jones's first album,
Oh
and I
man.
bought not first album, but his album at the time, and I bought Obsession for Men. Those are the two things
Obsession
I
for
bought with
Men.
my
You know, I had
first
that cologne actually.
check.
That was like the cologne
Yeah,
back in the 90s.
it was iconic,
Oh
man.
my
Yeah, I
God.
mean the
Obsession,
bottle, the
Eternity.
shape, and remember the commercial and
Of
all that stuff.
course.
And
Sure.
I was always obsessed with cologne or fragrance, whatever you want to call it. But
Sure.
and from the years going through, I've always kind of been more. It was more important for me to smell good than actually look good, because I'm not really like a big fashion guy. I don't go shopping all the time. I'm very simple in my style. But smelling good, if someone told me I smell good, that was the biggest compliment I could have ever gotten. And then, I decided, after I finished, in fashion, that I wanted to launch my own brand. I didn't really know how to until I met a perfumer who basically taught me the ropes. Went to France, learned perfumery, learned how it's all put together, the composition, and then branding and all that stuff, put it all together. And voila,
That's
launched my
incredible.
own brand in 2017. Yep.
So 2017 is when you officially launched the brand.
Yeah, I was working on it for about a couple of years, working on, the scents themselves and the
Okay.
packaging and all that stuff. But I officially launched in 2017.
Very nice. And what's the name of the brand?
Chris Collins. This
Chris
is my
Collins.
name. Yeah, Chris Collins. I mean, you can go to chriscollins.com and you can check
Okay.
out the fragrances.
Well,
Right
you
now I have
actually
7.
shipped me over a nice little
Yeah.
package, which I've been waiting to open for the
Yeah, I
show.
shipped you over like
You
little
did.
samples, like little pieces of candy for you to try.
And I'll just
Yeah,
kind of
man.
show. I got this beautiful little pouch here, which
Thank
is
you.
really nicely put together. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it because it's been here for a week and I haven't opened it. So it's like,
Yeah, go ahead and open it, brother. I mean, I got
let's.
7 fragrances. I like to say that they're unisex, both men and women can wear them. They are masculine. And when I say masculine, they're just not super floral. So you can wear them. Your girl can wear them. Anyone can enjoy them.
So what's your favorite?
And it's been fun making every single one of them.
What's your favorite? I know that's a really hard question because it's like, they're all my favorites. It's like
Yeah.
having 7 children and like, well, which one's your favorite child?
Which one is your favorite kid?
But come on, man, you
I think
gotta
I
have a favorite.
Well, let me say this.
Okay.
So let me say this. So I don't have a favorite. I do have favorites for different situations, different scenarios. But there are a couple that, the ones that I made in the beginning, the first ones that I made, those were the ones that I kind of are, extremely attached to because those are the hardest to make. It was like
Sure.
trying to figure out, working with a perfumer, trying to figure out exactly what story I wanted to tell, trying to figure out what I wanted it to smell like. It was a very difficult process in the beginning. It's almost like if you're a musician trying to find your voice.
Yeah.
And then eventually I did figure it out. And then, it became, okay, well, I got more confident in my creative style. And then it was a little bit easier. So
I
the
would have
ones in
to.
the beginning were the ones that were a little bit toughest.
I would have to think that to just kind of touch on that point, I would have to think it's a really tough connection when you're trying to explain to somebody your idea of a fragrance, right? It's kind of like, well, it
You hit it right on
smells
the
a
button.
little bit like,
You hit it right on the button.
it's
Let me tell you a quick story. So when I first started to create my first fragrance, I would go to all my friends and family and I would say, do you like this? If I asked 10 people, 5 would say yes, 5 would say it's okay, right? So then I went back to the drawing board, tried to make the 5 that said it's okay to like it, and then ended up making the 5 that said they liked it, didn't like it. So I was changing it so many times, and then I
Sure.
realized that I can't make anyone happy. I can't make everybody happy. Let me rephrase that. So I had to make the ones that were the closest and
Closest to you.
felt the best to me.
Sure.
And then I had to hope that, people would appreciate the feeling and the story. It's almost like with you and View. It's like, well, I got to make something that's true to my heart. I got to make something that I can that I believe in.
Yep.
And then hopefully people will be drawn to it. And
Yeah.
that's what happens. If you stay true to it, that probably will happen.
You're never going to appeal to everyone.
No.
I mean, someone's going to watch this
There's
show.
some people
this is real shit. This is garbage.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
But somebody else is going to watch this show and really
what?
love it. So.
But that's okay, because that means that it elicited some form of emotion.
That's right.
I'd rather you hate it than say, oh, I don't know.
I'm not
I'd
sure.
rather you love it. I'd rather you love it, right. I'd rather you have an extreme emotion to it. Because the reason why you may not love it may not be because you don't love my fragrance. It may be because fragrance is very personal, very emotional. It could be a scent that reminds you of something from your childhood that gives you an adverse reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay for you to experience it and say, well, that's not really for me, because that just means that it's a little bit too personal, or reminds you of something negative or something like that. So eventually we keep trying and I keep showing you other fragrances. One will probably,
that's the
catch your
thing.
attention.
It's a mental connection with a fragrance. It always,
that's right.
I think,
and memory. It's memory, like in a second.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It brings people back or takes someone forward. It does something, just
in
like
nanoseconds.
music.
Yeah.
So that's great, man.
Exactly. Like music. It brings you back to, like, your sense of smell is the closest to your brain. So as soon as you smell something, it ignites this like fight or flight mechanism.
Feeling.
You're either drawn to it or you run away from it. So
I just smelled two
emotional, very personal.
So far.
Which one? Which one did you get?
Well, the first two that I just checked out was Sweet Taboo.
Sweet Taboo, right?
Which I really, really liked.
And
I also just
has
tried
like coffee and chocolate.
And I tried Oud Galore.
Oud galore. Yeah, oud is like Middle Eastern woody. Yeah.
And I'm afraid to try the other 5 because I don't want my podcast studio here to start smelling like Macy's.
Right.
And then I'll have the lady up here be like, "Why does it smell like that in there?" So I'm gonna bring the rest outside when we're finished with the show. But 2 for 2,
okay.
I like.
Yeah. I mean, look, I got 7 of them, so a lot of them you're going to be drawn to. Others you may not be into, but
sure,
they're all made like high quality, high perfume oil concentration. So
how do you purchase the fragrance? Tell everybody where they can buy this.
So you can. I'm at Bergdorf Goodman, so you can go on bergdorfgoodman.com. If you Google, there's other boutiques that are in your area. Like,
Bergdorf Goodman is an easy place. Everybody has access to shop,
especially in our neighborhood. Yeah,
sure,
in our area. And the easiest way is to go to chriscollins.com, because if you buy from me, then you can actually purchase that discovery set that I sent you.
Oh, very nice.
Then you can try it. You can try them all before you blind buy them, and then say, okay, well, I'm more attracted to this one, and
Well, it's. I got to be honest. The presentation is beautiful. The 2 colognes that I've tried so far are fantastic. So head to chriscollins.com and you guys should definitely give this a try. Chris, it was so great seeing you, man. You look great. Keep moving.
My pleasure, brother.
I can't wait to hear what's next for you. And we
quarantining, Cape May, man.
Well, you look like you're doing all right over there. You look like you're quarantining out in like villa somewhere in Maui.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Doesn't look too bad.
Got to stay sane somehow. Thank you.
Exactly
appreciate
right. That. But thanks, man. We appreciate you jumping on, and be safe. We'll be in touch soon.
My pleasure. Thanks, Jason.
All my best.
Be well. Be safe.
You too.
Okay.
All right, so that's it for this week's show. We hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of The Inside View. Be sure to follow our podcast. Be sure to follow our page at VUENJ. Join us online, VUENJ.com, and stay tuned as next week we'll have even more. Hope to see you soon.